Welcome to CorePower Conversations. I'm here today with Amy Opielowski, and we're going to talk about meditation. Amy has a deep expertise in meditation and a long-time relationship with the CorePower Yoga community. She holds a Bachelor of Science degree in kinesiology from San Diego State University. She completed her 200-hour yoga teacher training in 2007 with CorePower Yoga and earned her 300-hour yoga teacher training in 2017 with Jason Crandall. Amy's also a graduate of the third cohort of the Mindfulness Meditation Teacher Certification Program taught by Jack Kornfield and Tara Brach. This program is endorsed by the Greater Good Science Center at UC Berkeley. And I've known Amy since 2020 when I began my career here at CorePower Yoga. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you, Nikki, and it's so wonderful. I can feel my heartbeat as we're here together having this conversation on what is meditation and how do we make it accessible and how do we make it authentic and even fun and enjoyable and alive. And so I'm really grateful to have this conversation. And thank you. And if you're here listening, even as Nikki and I talk, I invite you to check in throughout and have many check-ins. Like, how do you feel your sit bones in the chair if you're sitting, or your feet on the floor if you're standing? Just feel your body in space and check in with your breath as Nikki and I have this beautiful conversation together.
A lot of people have a lot of ideas in their head when the term meditation comes up, and a lot of shoulds. I should be doing that. I know. I want to do that. I'm not good at that. I've tried. Lots of thoughts. But Amy, can you tell us a little bit about first of all, what is meditation to you?
One way to describe meditation, it is a practice. Meditation is a beautiful practice, and it has deep Asian roots. And meditation is training our attention. And through that training of our attention, we awaken from our habitual thoughts. What science shows we have on average, about 60,000 thoughts a day. So we get to awaken from the habitual ones and habitual patterns and conditioning. And in that process of training our attention, we wake up to our life, our true nature, without the habitual patterns, and we wake up to the reality as is, and we begin to learn how to breathe and navigate this beautiful life with authenticity and with, I like to say, meeting the moment as is. But just to back it up, because I can still feel my heart beating quite fast because I'm excited and also nervous, is I want to come back to, it's a practice, Nikki, and I constantly every day have to remind myself of this and to relax my shoulders and breathe. And in the process of the practice, that's where the true power lies. And in the process, it's not even about progress. It's not about getting anywhere or anything we should or should not do. It's when we pause. And I always, when I talk about meditation, I love the quote from Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl, he says, in almost similar words, he says, in between the stimulus and the response, there is a space. And in that space lies our power and our freedom. And in that space, we find when we practice meditation and the technique that we choose begins to fall away, and we're just in that gap, that space where we're no longer thinking, we're just being. So those are some words that point towards what is the practice of meditation. What do you think, what is meditation to you, or is there anything that resonated for you, Nikki, in that share?
I am just, I've heard that before, that Viktor Frankl quote, but it's been some time, and I'm just ruminating on that. It's such a beautiful quote, and it's such a great reminder for all of us. For me, meditation it's just connecting with self. It's going inward. It's connecting with my breath. I struggle to suspend thought, but really just observe the thoughts and notice What am I thinking about? How am I feeling about what I'm thinking about? Like what's going on in my body, connecting to my body and myself. I struggled a long time with thinking that this was something so big and aspirational that it was out of my reach. And I think people like you making it more accessible have really made a difference for me. But your description sounds a lot like yoga. And I think we know that meditation is one of the 8 limbs of yoga. Can you talk a little bit about that and the connection to yoga?
Yeah, and I really appreciate what you said about starting with meditations is not about stopping our thoughts. It's about learning how to surf the wave of our thoughts so we can be with what is and have wise relationship to thought. And Nikki, that was one of my first in my yoga teacher training when I was introduced to meditation in 2007. Just that realization is I am not my thoughts, and the goal and the aim in meditation, the 7th limb of the 8 limb path, dhyana, is meditation. And in the practice of meditation, we build that wise relationship with thoughts, and it's a practice. And it's not about stopping our thoughts, like I said, it's about surfing the wave. And the more we learn how to surf the waves, we realize we're the ocean and we can navigate these ups and downs. And, coming back to finding yoga in 2007, I always feel like yoga finds you when you need it, Nikki, just like I feel like the
Yes.
meditation cushion finds you when you need it most. And at a transitional time in my life in 2007, I was managing a 24-hour fitness as a fitness manager and an independent contractor as a trainer, a fitness trainer, and just making my way through. And when I was introduced to yoga and then meditation, I learned my habitual patterning of like, how can I get this certification to get better? And
Yeah.
really work on myself. And it was all about self-improvement, Nikki. And I'm not judging myself. I'm just realizing through my path that the practice of meditation and yoga, it reminds you to slow down, to speed up, to slow down, to realize that we're not our thoughts. And this whole practice is not about stopping our thoughts. And also, I think within teacher training and my study of meditation that I was introduced to at CorePower Yoga teacher training in 2007, is that we all have a negativity bias. Our human nature is to focus on what's missing or what's wrong, and that's natural and that's okay. And we learn through our practice that, and I'll talk a little bit more about the neuroscience when we get there specifically, but we get to rewire those neural circuit ways to redirect towards our goodness in ourselves and the goodness in others as we practice. And coming back to that space that we find when we practice meditation, we find our power and our freedom to choose how we respond to stress, to if we're in crow pose and we're not yet perfected floating our feet, we can still breathe and navigate that moving towards something. Through gain, loss, success, failure, and pleasure and pain, we can meet the moment and we can learn how to breathe and also be excessively gentle with ourselves, realizing that it's okay to pause. It's okay to be in child's pose in yoga. It's okay to be a meditator and take a day off. And I know I'm going down different routes, but the last thing I'll say with learning about meditation on my teacher training program in 2007 and the 8 limb path, and that it is a path, it is a piece of the path. Mm-hmm. And the practice is so significant and it's always there. And whether it's once a week and it starts to weave more abundantly into your practice just by it being a simple part of your life, and then it grows and expands naturally, or it's a set time duration through every single day. And we can kind of talk about those specifics, but I just love that the practice can be exactly how you want it to be, based on how your life is in that moment. So yeah, I hope that was helpful.
It absolutely, I agree. I think that we can take what we need as we are able or want to
Yeah.
from meditation, much like yoga.
Yeah.
And our relationship with it, I really do believe can change over time. And how we practice can evolve and ebb and flow. Yeah, I think the important thing for me has been non-attachment
Mm-hmm.
to what my perception of meditation needs to be or should be, and allowing it to be for me, uh, what's good for me and what works for me.
Yeah. How do you practice non-attachment with your current meditation practice and yoga practice too? They're definitely
Yeah,
connected. Are there ways that are helpful for you?
yeah, that it's okay, and this is still a work in progress. It's all a work in progress, um, and my yoga practice is, 3 decades old, but I'm
Mhm.
still learning every day to not be so attached to mastering something or to getting through, my entire, sequence or whatever, but just slowing down and doing in the moment what my body wants to do, and really feeling and slowing down. And I'm finding myself learning to with this beginner's mind to start all over. There have been times where I'm very, very consistent in my meditation practice, and there are other times where all I've got today is a minute. But like yoga, if all you can do is a minute, I've definitely learned that that consistency and the minimum daily requirement, my MDR every day of meditation and yoga, is where I really begin to see and feel the benefits. Just to be consistent and recognize that it's okay if today it's going to be a 60-second.
Yeah.
That's what I've got. And there are other days where I've got more time and I want and need more, and I do more. But I've learned also that I can grab meditation in these moments, and there are these opportunistic times that I just like, okay, this is a perfect time to just sit and meditate. Waiting in the doctor's office,
Yes.
sitting on an airplane. I fly around a lot, and I'm on airplanes most weeks. And on airplanes, it's a perfect time to meditate. It's also a good time to fast. Um, um, but it's a good time to just quiet and meditate. And even coming to class or my mat when I practice at home early, just 10 minutes before I begin my practice, to dedicate that time to 10 minutes of meditation. But, finding it where I can, having a minimum daily requirement in my morning to get my morning started off right, that's been helpful to me in finding my way and being forgiving of myself that, some days just it's a minute, two
Yeah.
minutes.
I really appreciate, and I'm the same way. Meditation is accessible in my life, and it has been since 2007 because of the very practice you're talking about, Nikki. And the question is how does this moment want me to be with it? How does this moment want me to be with it? And in a formal meditation practice, there's 4 positions: sitting, lying down, standing, or walking. And just like yoga, some days we want to be more still and inward, and some days we want to be more just awake and maybe have a mantra or a guided meditation, something more active. And we get to meet the moment as is based on what we need and let our meditation practice evolve from that. It doesn't always have to look the same every single day. And I really appreciated that you said it could be when I'm on the airplane. It could be a few minutes before class or final rest, Shavasana, that meditation. Could be those moments where you're being with your breath as the home base. And I think that we'll talk more about the takeaways, but having an anchor, a home base, I feel like is one thing that has been really a through line for me that has made meditation accessible and authentic. So let's say like I'm taking a break between classes or clients and I go outside, I can take 2 minutes to sit in the sun with the sun on my face and feel that and listen to sounds. What are the close in sounds? And right now you can do this with me if you're, even if you're driving, just keep your eyes open. And Nikki, you and I can do this right now. Like zoom out. What are far away sounds that you hear? I can hear Beth on a phone call out in the living room, my beloved out there. I can hear the birds outside right now. And then if I go inward, I can hear my voice. I can hear the vibration of this room. And so this is a practice of mindfulness, but these small practices of mindfulness, these more informal forms of meditation, are an extension of the meditation practice itself. So then when we do sit on the cushion in the morning or at night or somewhere during the day, or we choose to take a more formal meditation, even a walking meditation, these little mini moments of mindfulness throughout the day become extensions of our meditation practice, and it makes it more accessible because we don't always have 20 minutes or 30 minutes to sit in the morning or at night or whenever it works. So I really appreciated what you said, and that's kind of how it looks like for me too.
I'm glad to hear that. That's great to hear. It's validating.
Yes,
Um,
yeah, we're in it together, and it's the power of community. And I shared this with you yesterday. Community is powerful. It's more powerful than even willpower, and that's why we go to a public yoga class. We get the power of community, and we show up because we know we're going to be in the field of us, flowing, breath to movement, and navigating those poses with presence and hopefully joy, and also, savoring the challenge because it can be challenging too. The workout does turn in the work in, but there's a workout in yoga asana, especially the form of vinyasa we do. And meditation, we just get to navigate that. And when we connect with like-minded individuals at this yoga studio, or we get to meet and study with a meditation teacher, maybe it's one of our yoga teachers, in the power of community and meditating with others too, when we have that opportunity, it can really add a beautiful texture to our meditation practice as well.
oh, yeah, I love that. Yes, agreed. You mentioned a little bit about the neuroscience behind meditation. Can you talk a little more about that?
Yeah, and in a simple way, I really appreciated when I realized our human nature of, having this negativity bias, and it's normal as a human. It's a protective strategy to focus on what's wrong or what's
Right.
missing. And I like to just name that because that was really it was really eye and heart opening to me, being like to just normalize that. And I don't know if that's helpful for you or anyone listening. And it was definitely helpful for me just to be like, oh, okay, this is normal. To, have the doubt
Yeah.
and or have the habitual patterns it shows up in different ways: fear, aversion, procrastination, distraction, doubt, like all of these layers where we focus on what's missing or what's wrong, Nikki. And it's good because when I know in my life through my meditation practice, naming it when it shows up, it
Yeah.
doesn't give power to it, it gives space for. And in that space
Yeah.
again lies my power and my freedom. And I'm getting emotional because it's so fun. And the more we learn it doesn't mean we don't feel all of the challenges of life the same. We actually feel the more, and we also feel the joys more. We just feel everything more, and we feel when we are caught in the wave of doubt. That's a common one for me. Or I never distract myself, and procrastinate. I'm just joking. I do that quite often. But I get to name it, Nikki. And in the
Yeah. Yeah.
naming, it gives the power to be like, okay, how can I come home to my true nature and what's most important to me? And then I respond wisely with wise action and hopefully I want to underline wise action, because it's not about getting anywhere, especially in our life's work. We can add these strategies to our life work, so we're working with balanced action. But coming back to the neuroscience, is through the practice of meditation, we recircuit this pattern and we turn towards the goodness in ourselves and others, and we see it within ourselves and we see it within each other. And they say just up to 4 days. Some research shows up to 4 days of meditation, and there's a lot of study with 8 weeks of meditation and the benefits. And it ranges from, Nikki, we start to activate the prefrontal cortex versus the limbic system of flight, fight, freeze. We activate the prefrontal cortex of the brain, which is literally the CEO of the brain. That's so cool. It directs reasoning and clear thinking and creativity, our ability to respond versus react. And as we awaken this prefrontal cortex, we respond to life more skillfully, and we take things less personally. And it is a practice, because I know I'm not gonna, as a meditator, as a person that practices meditation, I still take things personally. I want to normalize that. And I'm quicker at noticing when I do, for example, and then I can respond versus react to that. Or when I'm playing the doubt card, for example, too. So that's one of my favorite things. And when we're activating the prefrontal cortex and responding versus reacting, stress lowers. So we have less stress. There's less cortisol, the stress hormone, being released. And so we're more calm. We sleep sounder. And who doesn't want to sleep more soundly? Sign me up. And meditation has really supported sleeping more just soundly, which has been really, really wonderful. And other research shows that it decreases heart disease, and it really helps us to also not focus on, again, so much what's missing or what's wrong. We turn towards the light. And again, not only what's good in ourselves, but we get to see the good in others. And what better gift to be able to see the goodness in our students and our humans at home and our beloved pets and all beings everywhere. It's such a gift to be able to see the light and the goodness, especially when there's perceived differences and opinions on things. It doesn't mean we necessarily like someone's opinion, but we can be with someone who's different than us and has different opinions and views, and we can focus on their goodness and the connection we have versus what is separating us. So it turns separation into a connectivity. And the last thing of neuroscience, because I know I could talk about this forever, this will be for sure the last one.
No, that's okay.
It literally increases pro-social circuits. So these are the circuits in the brain, Nikki, that help us connect and want to connect more. So it moves us from me to we, and that know that there's pro-social circuits in the brain that help us want to connect. That just fires me up. It gets me really excited. So that's another cool neuroscience gem that I wanted to share.
So much of what you had to say resonated with me personally.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That was spectacular. The negativity bias, I have had to learn, and it was like a moment of gratitude when I realized, that this built-in bias that we have, and I feel like I got a double dose of hypervigilance towards what could go wrong, danger, what what might trip you up, what boogeymen are out there, and when I understood that this is our survival, mechanism to see danger, to see things that could go wrong. It is our survival instincts kicking in. It allowed me to have compassion for self. A long time I was very judgmental of myself for, in comparison to other people who are always saw the glass half full, and I was so worried about the glass half empty. And I've moved to this place of self-acceptance that I have some hard wiring for good reason that I see these dangers or things that could go wrong very quickly and acutely, and I have a scanning going on in the environment for that all the time. But acceptance that that's my wiring, and meditation has helped me just notice it and name it for what it is, and not re- react to it and get anxious or panicked or overly obsessive about whatever it is I'm noticing, and recognize that those are my built-in warning signs, and it may be real, it may not be real, but to just notice it. And then, as you said, be with that and mindfully choose a response versus this reactivity out of fear or survival instincts or something else to that. And over time, that becomes, for me, has become more and more almost reflexive to, uh, just notice that and not have it so deeply impact me, and be able to shift my state into one of, um, you know, that's that part of me kicking in, and that's that's probably not really going to happen. There's a famous quote that's resonated with me for a very long time. I've lived through many horrible things in my life, a few of which actually happened. And it really resonated with me based on what I'm talking about. And meditation has really made a difference in actually not going all the way down the line and living through something danger or scary or that I'm afraid of in my head, and actually just noticing and then shifting out of that. And that has been one of the biggest benefits meditation has had for me, is being able to notice and shift.
Yeah. That Mark Twain quote is one of my favorites too. And to tie on another great quote from Indian philosopher Sri Nisargadatta, he said, "The mind creates the abyss, the heart crosses it." So in the
Yes.
meditation, as we come home to heart, we cross the abyss of these fears of what's missing and what's wrong.
So, Amy, for the people listening out there, tips for just getting started. What can you share with all of our community here about what could one do to easily put the toe in the water and get started with a meditation practice?
Yeah,
What's an
thank you.
accessible way?
Yeah, and we talked about a few things, and just to really distill it down, keep it simple. The simplicity of our practice, making it accessible, is really, really important. And some structure can help. Just like when we learn yoga, we start with breath posture cue here at CorePower. The structure helps us to ground and to commit. And so a little bit of structure can help, and you can then be fluid with the structure. And so start simple. And it can be really helpful to have a space that you set aside. It doesn't always have to be in that sacred space, but have a space where it's comfortable, and there's a space of beauty, like a section of your house, a corner of your house, or the couch, or a familiar place where you're comfortable. David G., a well-known meditator, says, "Comfort is queen," and it just makes me smile because we think we have to be in this. It is important to be awake and alert, but also relax. We don't have to be so sharp and feel like we have to be in our meditation pose and posture. Be comfortable. Some days my meditation is me more a little slumped on the couch. I have my warm tea on my lap. I'm holding it. And some days it's more upright, and I might have like a guided, so it looks different every day. So to come back, keep it simple, and it can be helpful to have a space, a sacred space. And then two, especially at the beginning, it can be helpful to have a set time. Whether it can, some people say in the morning or before bed can be really, really helpful. I find I'm a morning person, so when I wake up, my practice is in the morning, and I'm still working a consistent evening practice. And it's again, it ebbs and flows, but having a set time of day to meditate and then a set duration, and know that that might change. So let's say you are aiming for 5 minutes to start. Some days it may be 2, as you talked about. It's that 2 minutes of meditation on the plane. Or let's say you're driving home from work and you turn off your car first and you close your eyes and you put your hands on your lap and you have a 2-minute meditation before you go in the house. It could look like that one day instead of that 2-minute or 5-minute or whatever sit at the morning or night kind of thing. So just to summarize, keep it simple, have a space that's familiar and cozy, and keep a consistent time at the start and a duration of time as well. So those are some great staples. And then the last takeaway is ask yourself, what brings your practice alive, and how can you find and invoke excitement in your practice? Like some days, meditation can be finding an anchor of your breath, or it could be the anchor of sound, like I talked about earlier. It could also be finding the anchor of a mantra, a phrase or short word or phrase that keeps you connected. It could also look like a guided meditation. Insight Timer is a great free resource, and there's other great resources. I think even Nikki, I think we're building resources of guided meditation here that we have access to, which is you can talk about more. So guided meditation can be a lovely structure. It doesn't always have to be what you use, but some days a really guided meditation can be awesome. I know I love listening to a Brach meditation in the morning. That can really serve my morning some days. So again, but I definitely want to underline what brings your practice alive, and let it be different. It's not always going to look the same every single day. Yeah. Is there any best practices that you have, Nikki, for anyone starting meditation or wanting to deepen it?
When I went through yoga teacher training several years ago, the owner of the teacher training, the organization that I went through TT with, taught our meditation learning. And he said that one that he fell back on often, it's really just closing my eyes and sitting in a comfortable seat. And it's counting your breath, but inhaling, and it's rising, 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 however many breaths it is for you to, that you can inhale, and then your exhale is falling, 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 and just that repetition. And that one is just so easy and so accessible to me. I work a lot in my yoga practice and in my meditation on accessing my heart and connecting to my heart. I'm one who found safety early in my life and through my life staying up in my head. And so the benefits of yoga and meditation have really helped me find that connection, mind-body connection, and connection to the heart, and allowing myself to be vulnerable and open my heart. So just I am love, and I am love, and the repetition of that. It doesn't have to be too long. The consistency, and I like what you said about, when you're starting, consistent, if it's 5 minutes every day, just start, and start
Keep it
today.
simple.
Yeah, and keep
Yeah,
it
begin
simple.
again. You miss a
Yeah,
day, begin again. And what I
yeah,
really heard you say that I wanted to highlight, because we talked about it, but just to say it out loud, there's many forms of meditation, just like there's a million different sports, basketball, badminton, fill in the blank. There's just as many forms of meditation. And so as you practice, you'll find meditation, and some will work for you. We talked about mantra, there's metta, loving kindness, and there's breath awareness meditation, there's sound awareness meditation. All these practices just start to bring you home to heart, to your true nature. And so explore the different forms, and know that some forms will support you in your phases and cycles of life more than others, and so it will change when you were talking, I got really excited, and I remembered a technique I learned during my meditation school at MMTC, Meditation Mindfulness Certification Program, and it's RAIN. And it's a quick form of how you blend mindfulness and compassion, Nikki. And so just RAIN is an acronym for recognize, A is allow, A is investigate, and N is nurture. So let's say you're on your yoga path and you start to have a difficult moment. And I know for me, when I'm having a difficult experience in life, sitting or meditating can be challenging. So I wanted to share this RAIN technique, and you can do some more research on it on your own if it resonates with you, Nikki, or anyone listening. But right now, if you even consider, as you turn inward, a challenging or a difficult situation in your life, nothing super traumatic. So on a scale 1 to 10, maybe pick something that would be like a 3 or 4. Nothing traumatic is going to be helpful here. But as you call in that difficult experience that you're having in your life right now, if you're comfortable, because you can pass and just focus on your breath right now too, allow it to be there. And it doesn't mean you like it, but you're just like, okay, it's like this right now. I'm breathing in and out of it. That's the A of RAIN. And then I, investigate, like, where do you feel it in your body? Is it the throat, the chest, the belly? If you're doing it right now, you might investigate with me. And then also, what's the most difficult part about this? Like, what are you believing about this difficult experience? Is it maybe you're not good enough, or, fill in the blank of those things that we sometimes believe about the difficult situation. And then after you just investigate where you feel it in your body and the most challenging part, it brings us to N, which I love the N part, Nikki. It's nurturing. And we nurture, we call in our most wise self, maybe ourself 10 years from now. And we imagine receiving a message of care. Maybe it's words of like, you're doing your best, trust yourself, you're not alone, I'm not leaving you. It could be also a message from a mentor you trust. It could be a pet mentor. I always receive messages from my Doberman Duke as messages of love, or a message of a beloved teacher, of like something to remember. And then after the RAIN, you sit in the space you've created. Nikki and I realized that this technique helps me commit to my practice even when it's hard, because I have this flight path to be with it in an accessible way. And if it's too big, I just resource and I might go outside or in nature. I don't, tend to it yet. But with gentleness, we can use a structure, a meditation like RAIN, to weave in compassion and mindfulness to meditate even when it's hard. So I wanted to borrow a few moments to guide us through that, because I feel like it might be really helpful takeaway, as I know it was for me. So yeah,
I love
thank
that.
you for letting me share.
It's a great takeaway. Why do you think meditation would benefit every human on earth? The biggest why you can think of, if you could summarize it up.
I'll just use the words of Dana Foltz, one of my favorite poets. This is a line from Walking Slowly, and I love her words. And she says, one of the lines is, waking up to our life is what we were born for. Waking up to our life is what we were born for. And all beings everywhere, as we wake up and we move into wise relationship and wise effort with how we respond to life, our life unfolds, and we're able to find that power of love within and the freedom to be ourselves. And I feel like every human being deserves that freedom and power to be who they are unapologetically and freely.
Beautiful. What a beautiful way to wrap up this amazing conversation. I am so grateful to you. You've inspired me so much today. Incredible, Amy. Just beautiful wisdom, experience, and sharing from Amy Opielowski. Thank you so much, Amy. Any final words you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Just thank you, Nikki, and thank you to anyone who's listening, and just may this time together we've had, Nikki, you and I, and anyone listening, just contribute to the well-being of all beings everywhere. I'm just grateful for this time.
Thank you. You truly empower love and shine love from the inside out, Amy. I'm so grateful that I got to spend time with you this morning. Thank you.